is this compost? I'm so happy with this. This might save our gardens. The last few days have been so warm, it almost feels like springtime. And I know I said it last video, but it's only 3 weeks to spring. And then today, well, it's freezing again. So it's definitely still winter. But we're kind of patting ourselves on the back because we've never been as spring ready as we are right now. The gardens are looking awesome. Still a whole heap of winter veggies in here, but all our spring planting has started in the greenhouse. There's a couple of activities that we want to do though to be even more ready for spring so that we don't get kind of overwhelmed when all of this is thriving and full of life. And that includes mulching. We mulched all the pathways, which is awesome. That helps with weed suppression, but now we want to mulch the edges. And I know of some old mulch piles that I can go and scab up a whole bunch of wood chip mulch. I think I want to sift some as well. I need some sifted mulch. But the first thing I want to do, and Kirsty reminded me, we've got this soil pH test kit that we still haven't used, and we've been meaning to do it since we got here. So I reckon we go and grab that now because I want to know what the actual state of our soil is in our gardens. So I've had this old soil test, it's so old, it's faded, soil test kit for years, and it's worked. Like, I don't think the reactive agent, chemical, whatever it is, I don't think it expires. So we're gonna give it a go. What I really wanna know is, are we making the right decisions in terms of amendments that we're putting in our garden? This is just a pH test, but pH can tell you a lot. So I want to test some of our oldest gardens, the ones right down in the center where we started, some of our newer gardens, and then I want to test kind of 2 pieces of virgin ground, if you like. There's where we dug out for our rainwater tanks, which I don't think is really great soil just by the color of it. And then we've got this berm. I've talked to you about it heaps, but this berm that runs along kind of the length of our property and it stops water from totally escaping into the dams. It holds back a lot of water. But my theory is that if that's been there for years, and judging by the size of the trees that are growing out of it, it's been there for a decade or more, it's probably also had this buildup of like nutrients and silt and like all this rich organic matter. And I actually know that to be true because the backside of the berm grows nice and dark green grasses and plant matter. The other side, not so much. So we built these newest garden beds out of the berm material. We just hacked into it and started bringing the material over here to use. Whereas those first garden beds, we built just out of the closest soil we could. So let's test and see if that was a good decision. Okay, you only need a teaspoon, but that's really hard because we've done soil amendments on these beds. The material at the top of the beds is going to be, you know, potentially different in composition to the material like an inch down. So I'm just gonna mix it up. I mean, look at the color of that. That looks amazing. All right, let's take from, well, these cabbages are kind of doing awesome. So look at those. Okay. I get this isn't incredibly scientific. I'm contaminating my results, but it'll give us an idea. So this is the berm. It runs here and it's preventing a lot of water getting to our dams, which is another problem because we don't really want that. Like, I get what it does. It holds water back up on the slope of the landscape, but let me see if I can get this. This might not come out real clear, but let me see if I can show you. Literally just because of water content, can you see that on the right side of the berm, it's greener than on the left side of the berm? In other words, on the upslope side, it's holding water and it's growing more vegetation. That vegetation cycle is faster than the vegetation on the opposite side. And so the buildup of organic matter over decades would be huge in comparison. So my theory here was, where I started digging into it, if I take from that upslope side of the berm and build garden beds out of it, there's going to be all this nutrient and organic matter and good soil on that side of the berm. So, old bed, new bed, berm. Now I just want to go and dig just some plain old ordinary ground. Miserable day. I'll have to keep an eye on solar today, make sure our batteries don't dip too low. Actually, we haven't fired up the generator for a good 4 or 5 days. It's been great sunny days. All right, so this is the pile of material that got created when we carved a plateau for these water tanks. So this is basically just virgin Aussie bush ground. All right, we've got our 4 samples. Let's go test them. Okay, old, new, berm, water tanks. More purple is going to be more alkaline. More yellow, orange, or red in the worst case scenario is going to be more acidic. What I'm looking for is a nice green in the middle. About 6 to 7 is where I want my pH for kind of a good garden soil. So that's the reactive agent. You basically blend that into your soil until you get a paste. Now there's a color that's formed on there, but because of the darkness of the soil, you can't see it. I'm starting to see it on the white card. I'm really hoping that's green, but I'm sort of seeing some purple as well. So then they give you this white powder, which is basically just a way to see the color. I'm going to call that purple. New garden bed. So that's really interesting. New garden bed, exact same result. I'm going to call that an 8.5 as well. That basically means across the spectrum of our garden beds, we are tending towards way too much alkalinity. All right, let's test our soils that we've been building with. So this was our nice dark berm soil. Oh yeah, look at that. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to call that a 6, which is exactly where we want it. I mean, slightly acidic, not a problem. 6 to 7 is where I want my garden beds. I should just be building my garden beds out of that berm material and not doing any amendments. Last test. This I would expect to be the poorest quality soil, but what we've seen so far is that our actual garden beds are pretty poor. This is just virgin ground that we dug up to build a water tank pad. Oh man, don't tell me. What's going on here? Are you serious? I'm going to give that a 6. I mean, it's on the light side. Yeah, it's on the light side. It's even tending towards more acidic. So our garden beds are in worse condition from a pH point of view than just the plain ground that we've got growing around us. I might as well have just built gardens on top of that pile of earth that we made when we made our platform for our water tanks. I think I already know what's going on here. We made an assumption that our tomato problem and our zucchini problem last summer was due to soils that needed more calcium. That may still be true, but our lime amendments that we've done have probably pushed that scale all the way up towards alkalinity. We need to balance that out, and the best way we can do that is with compost. We just bring in a ton of organic matter, blend it through, and that will balance that out into the next season. Now, this isn't a thorough soil test either. This is just pH. I mean, I'd love to send my soils away for testing, but that's pretty expensive. We may do that at some stage. Anybody know of any other soil tests that test for, other aspects of your soil other than pH? Hit us up in the comments and tell us what you do. All right, let's go find some mulch piles. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. We took most of this pile, but we left a good thick layer of it behind. So let's recover this. Well, that's awesome. 3 little piles or 3 trailer loads of mulch. Plus I've got a little pile over there from some mulching we did a little while back. Small pile there. But all I really want to do, I want to run some through the sifter because I need some fine wood chip material for our compost toilet system and for our chicken brooder box because it's coming up to spring. We're going to be breeding chickens soon. I'm going to need a supply of that. But I want to finish off these garden paths. They're all pretty good in the center there, but I want to do the edges of the whole area. And the main reason I want to do that, I've got grass growing right up to the garden beds and I don't want to have to run the whippersnipper right up to the garden bed. So if I can just avoid having whippersnipping near food that I'm growing, I think that's probably a wise idea. So we'll just do like a little foot wide. It's not really a path, it's just to suppress grass and weeds. In fact, we might actually whippersnip this right down to almost bare earth and then mulch the top of it. And then that just gives us a nice edge line to kind of keep the grasses at bay. All right, let's get the sifter set up there and we'll run a load through and get some fine material. Perfect. All right, let's take this to, we'll give some to Eddie and we'll top up our compost toilet supplies. All right, a nice full bin. This is just like 2 handfuls after every time you use the toilet. This bin lasts us, man, I'm gonna say like a couple of months. Eddie. So, I did some soil tests today and you have been telling me that you're really concerned about some of these gardens and I thought that it was just that you're impatient.
You kept telling me, just be patient.
But actually, these cabbages, when you compare them to, and I'll show a shot of the red cabbages, what was the word you just used?
Munted.
I would have said stunted, but munted's good. I've got an answer for you.
What happened?
I did the soil pH test. The 2 garden beds that I tested, so I tested one from back there, an old one, and then one from out here, a new one.
Yeah.
Both heavily alkaline.
What does that mean?
So the scale goes from acidic through neutral to alkaline. Your garden beds you want somewhere around neutral to slightly acidic. I tested soil off of the berm and I tested some crap soil from up near the water tanks.
So what we used to
build
as the foundation of the gardens,
both of them were perfect. We should have basically just planted in that. And so that means our garden beds are way too alkaline. I mean, like off the scale almost. And I asked ChatGPT what was going on.
Yeah.
We assumed we were having this problem with tomatoes and zucchinis. And we ran that problem through AI as well, and it said calcium deficiency, right? And so we added garden lime. The garden lime has put way too much alkaline into our soil. Guess what it actually was? Remember what our other garden problem was?
Lack of water.
Bore water.
Oh.
It's not the salts in the bore water, definitely the salts.
The hardness.
The hardness, and this is one that I just learned today, magnesium prevents plants from taking up calcium that's already in the soil. We had magnesium in our
Yeah.
water, and that bore water was stopping our plants from accessing the calcium that was already in the soil. But because we didn't test it first, we added more calcium or garden lime and cranked the pH. And so now...
So the blueberries are going to love that.
No, because
No,
they
that's
want
the
acidic.
opposite.
Everything here wants slightly acidic soil, and some things like blueberries want heaps of acidic soil. We've got to bring our pH down.
So how do we do that?
Compost. There's a few ways that we could do it. We could add...
I can't believe we didn't do this.
There's a few chemicals we could add. I don't want to do it a chemical way. It's a little bit slower, but way more natural.
It's fine.
But let's just do compost, because basically that organic activity will lower that pH and bring us more towards acidic, but it might take to the end of summer. So we're going to have everything that's struggled.
Test your soil.
Yeah. Remember how at the start of this video I said we had that soil pH test kit,
It's
and we
been
just...
on my list for months and months and months.
We
like
should have done it from
autumn.
the start. If we had done that first, we would have known that our soil was fine, and that would have made us query that blossom end rot in a totally different way.
It just needed more aliveness.
No, it needed no bore water.
Yeah,
the bore water basically locked up all of the other nutrients that our plants needed, and we responded to that as though it was a soil problem, not that we'd put 3 months worth of mineral heavy bore water on it. Anyway, can be fixed, but we've got to do some composting. So I reckon every garden bed that isn't occupied right now,
I've got 3.
A literal shitload, because that's mostly what's in it, of compost onto it.
And then as we clear, before we plant,
every time we clear out
heavy on the
harvest,
compost.
heavy on the compost.
Nothing else.
Yep.
Nothing else.
That's it. I got asked a question this week about using sugarcane mulch, and the person who asked said that they put sugarcane mulch around their okra plants, and the ones that were mulched died or basically didn't thrive, and the ones that weren't did awesome. And I think I have an answer for you, because I've come across this before. Most sugarcane mulches that you buy, especially if you buy those ones off the side of the road and the big kind of shipping containers at the sugarcane farms, they've got so much chemical spray on them, you're basically kind of putting Roundup on your gardens. You can get an organic sugarcane mulch. I've never tried it. Personally, I just don't even trust that anymore. And so as much as possible, we're trying to use like a natural mulch material. And these days, I just make it myself. We've got access to heaps of long, dry grass that I can just cut and use on my gardens. Just think, where has it come from? Where was it growing? Was it likely sprayed? Was it sprayed with Roundup? Probably. I gotta say, I am pretty happy with how all... Oh! That's how to end a day in the garden.
Bring on springtime.
Bring on my jumper. It got freezing again.
Happy weekend.